Manchester United are playing for their 12th FA Cup in this year's FA Cup final. They are playing Crystal Palace, a club who has never won an FA Cup. The closest the club has ever got to an FA Cup was in 1990 in the FA Cup final against, believe it or not, Manchester United. After playing out a 3-3 draw, Manchester United won 1-0 in a replay. This is a preview of the 2016 FA Cup final between current Premier League clubs Crystal Palace and Manchester United. Hello everyone and welcome to a preview of the 2016 FA Cup final, which will be played between Crystal Palace and Manchester United, two current Premier League teams. Now my name is Jacob Bevis and I'll be giving you a full preview of the final in this video. I'm really looking forward to this final. There's a lot riding on it, of course. Manchester United going for their 12th FA Cup trophy. They have won 11. They're going for their 12th in this final, and they're up against Crystal Palace, who has had a good road to this FA Cup final since the start of their FA Cup campaign. So let's get straight in to looking at the FA Cup final for 2016. So let's start off with the basic match information. This is all in Australian Eastern Time. So the 2016 FA Cup final between Crystal Palace and Manchester United will be held on Sunday, the 22nd of May at 2:30 AM. Yes, 2:30 AM here in Australia. It's a very, very early time to watch a game of football / soccer. But, well, you just have to do an all-nighter. It's simple as that, or just have a little bit of a nap before you wake up and watch the final. I won't be missing it, especially on Sunday with these two teams. The game is at Wembley Stadium, of course, like every FA Cup final is. So that's the match information, and you can see the game live on SBS for all those free-to-air people who don't have Foxtel. But if you have Foxtel, then you have that choice to watch it on ESPN 1. Okay, now let's go through the FA Cup history for these two sides. I'll start with Manchester United, and as I said at the start of the video, they are going for their 12th FA Cup in this week's FA Cup final. Their last FA Cup win was back in 2004 when they defeated Millwall in the FA Cup final of 2004 at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. They won that day, and in fact their first FA Cup final was way back in 1909, so way long time ago, that's for sure. So like I mentioned, they've won 11 FA Cups, going for their 12th in this year's FA Cup final. Now for Crystal Palace, they have never won an FA Cup. However, they made the final way back in 1990. This was the closest they got to winning an FA Cup in what was a bizarre match. It actually finished 3-3 at the end of extra time. Now, there was no penalty shootouts back then, so they went to a replay, and Manchester United ended up winning that replay 1-0 at Wembley Stadium. So that was the closest they have ever got to an FA Cup. And, well, they'll be looking to make history this week in this year's FA Cup final. They'll be hoping to claim their first FA Cup trophy in their club's history. Okay, time now to have a look at the road to the FA Cup final for these two sides, the games they have played and the games that they have won to get to this point in the competition. I'll start with Crystal Palace, of course, going for their first FA Cup in their club history, like I just mentioned. They started off in the third round with a win against Southampton, of course. This was away from home. They finished the game 1-2. They went to the fourth round at home and beat Stoke 1-0, so a clean sheet there for Crystal Palace in that game. In the 5th round, they went to White Hart Lane away from home to defeat Tottenham 1-0. Kept another clean sheet away from home. Pretty impressive by the side who has been in the lower ranks of the Premier League in the last couple of years, and of course has just been promoted recently in the last few years. In the quarterfinals, they were able to defeat Reading 2-0, so they kept another clean sheet. And then in the semi-final at Wembley, not long ago, they defeated Watford 2-1. Like I just mentioned, at Wembley Stadium in the semi-finals. So a good road to the FA Cup final for Crystal Palace. They've had some good wins in that fixture or results, and they'll be looking very much looking forward to the game against Manchester United this Sunday. Manchester United's road to the FA Cup final was somewhat simple. In the 3rd round, they had met Sheffield United at home at Old Trafford and won that 1-0, so they got the job done there against a lower tier side. In the 4th round, they were able to defeat Derby away from home 3-1, and then in the 5th round, they were able to pretty much easily defeat Shrewsbury 3-0. That was also away from home. In the 6th round, they actually drew against West Ham at home at Old Trafford, which was a bit of a shame, so they had to go to a replay, and of course Louis van Gaal wouldn't have wanted that at all. They would have wanted to just seal the win at home instead of going to a replay, but they had to, and to Manchester United's credit, they were able to go away from home and defeat West Ham in the quarter-final replay 1-2, and then in the semi-finals at Wembley, they were able to defeat Everton 2-1. So, of course, now they're at the FA Cup final against Crystal Palace in what will be a good matchup. Okay, time to have a look now at the past meetings between these two sides. The last 6 meetings, Manchester United have won, basically have won 5 of those, and 1 has been drawn. So Manchester United have been pretty dominant over the last couple of years against Crystal Palace. And if you want to know the last 2 meetings, the results, of course, the game last year in October, the 31st of October, it actually finished 0-0, so that was the only drawn game in the last 6 games they have played against each other. And of course, last time out, which was only in April, the 20th of April, Manchester United won comfortably 2-0. That was at home at Old Trafford. But nonetheless, I expect this to be a very good game indeed. Okay, time to have a look now at one key player from each of these sides. I'll start with Crystal Palace, and Dwight Gale, for me, is the most important and key player for Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final for 2016. He's a striker, of course, as we know. He scored 7 goals across both the Premier League and also Cup football, which is not a real lot, but it is basically the more than any other Crystal Palace player. So that's probably what makes him very important. And, well, if someone was going to ping a winning goal, then I think this man is the one to do it. So if he's in form, then Crystal Palace might just get through and win their first ever FA Cup. As for Manchester United, well, I've picked out Anthony Mathieu, who's leading the assists in the FA Cup competition. He has 4 assists, so like I said, he leads the FA Cup competition. And, well, if anyone was to set up a goal, I think this guy is the man to do it. And we also know that he can score a couple of goals as well when he's on his game. We do know that. Now, if you want a bonus key player for Manchester United, De Gea, the goalkeeper, he's had the most saves in the cup competition for this year. So if anyone was to maybe block out a few goals, he would probably be the one to do it if he's in good form in the final. So they are the key players for these two sides. And finally, we end the preview with my tip. And, well, in my heart, I really hope Crystal Palace win and get their first ever FA Cup trophy. They're a side who have been struggling, haven't they, in the last, I guess, 10 years or so in the lower tiers. And now they're in the Premier League, which is fantastic. To have some success and get a silverware would be fantastic for their club. So I think, however, I think Manchester United are going to win this game 3-2. Crystal Palace have had a good road, as I mentioned throughout the preview. they beat Spurs really impressively. I thought that was an impressive win at White Hart Lane. Of course, won 1-0 and was able to keep a clean sheet throughout that match. But I think the experience and the top overall players in this Manchester United side is what will get Manchester United over the line. But 5 goals, I hope, in the game. That's what I'm predicting. I think that's possible, even though Crystal Palace aren't one of the top sides in the EPL. I think 3-2 is pretty realistic for me. So that is my tip. I think Manchester United are going to defeat Crystal Palace, even though I do hope Crystal Palace get through and win the FA Cup final for 2016. What a story that would be. And that concludes this preview of the 2016 FA Cup final, of course, between Crystal Palace and Manchester United. I cannot wait for this game. I'll be up at the early hours of Sunday morning, 2:30 AM to be exact, to watch this game, and I'm really looking forward to it. So if you like this preview, don't forget to like, comment and share this video. Don't forget to also subscribe, because I'm going to be doing some more football/soccer content over the next few months, including the UEFA Champions League between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. That is going to be a big game. So stay tuned on the channel, because I'll be uploading that preview sometime next week. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'm Jacob. Enjoy this year's FA Cup final, and until next time, bye for now.